is David. Today we are going to begin in any comfortable seated position. So if you'd like to come down onto your knees like I'm sitting in Vajrasana, or if you want to come into a cross-legged seated position, a Sukhasana, or another position that you like with your legs crossed or even your legs extended out in front of you, then go ahead and make your way into a seat. And then once you find your comfortable seated position, close your eyes. Or if closing your eyes creates some anxiety in your body, just lower your lids slightly, soften and lower your gaze down to the floor, and let your vision spread out so that your eyes start to relax. And now bring your attention to your physical body. Start to check in with those places in your body that are making contact with the mat or the prop that you might be sitting on. And just allow your attention to move through your body, noting what sensations are present, and doing your best for the moment to let go of any tendency to start to tell yourself stories about what you may be experiencing in your body. Just see if you can stay with the raw sensory information without running it through the processor of your mind. Just noticing moment by moment the sensations as they arise and then pass away. Noticing how certain sensations will call out for your attention, and then other ones will arise to take its place. And as your body starts to settle into greater levels of stillness, you may find your attention being drawn to the breath. So let's begin to observe your breathing. Just noticing the way your belly rises and falls as you breathe. Not doing anything at the moment to shape or control your breathing, but just observing. Then bringing your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. Let's take a moment to check in with your sankalpa, or your intention for your practice today. Whatever it is you hope to manifest or release through your practice. And see if you can bring that intention into your heart space now. Taking a moment to consider what it is you need to bring yourself into a state of harmony today. And then taking a moment to consider your longer term intention, where you're hoping the practice will take you in the long run. trusting that this practice will serve your highest intention. Let's seal that intention and set the context for the rest of class by chanting the Gayatri mantra 3 times. If you know it, feel free to join me as much or as little as you like. Om Bhurabhuvat Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvat Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvat Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Slowly opening your eyes. Let's release your hands down to your lap. And if you need to adjust your seat, switch the cross of your legs, or change your position in any way, go ahead. And we'll begin the movement portion of our practice today just by rolling out our heads. And then switching directions. Back to neutral, lift up through the crown of your head, lift your chest, let your shoulders drop down your back slightly, and on your inhalation, draw your chin in to your neck, and then on your exhalation, just release your head forward again. So each time you inhale, draw the back of your head back in space, feel your shoulder blades come together, your chest lift, and then each time you exhale, just relax. Keep doing that for a few rounds, with your own breath at your own pace. Next exhalation, let's release that. Bring your hands to your shoulders. Make some forward circles with the elbows. And then some backward circles. Alternating forward, just like you're swimming the crawl. And then alternating backward. Releasing your hands from your shoulders. Let's weave our fingers together and we'll roll out the wrists today. So even though we're going to stay off our wrists today for the most part, or maybe especially these, we're going to stay off our wrists today. We want to make sure that we warm them up. Find that people who have wrist sensitivity, switch directions, tend to avoid doing things with the wrist, which tends to create more tightness and atrophy in the muscles and tendons surrounding the wrists. So we want to make sure that we give a little extra attention to those today. some wrist waves. See if you can make the movement fluid and smooth so that you feel as if you're passing the wave from one hand to the other. And then notice which way the energy is moving. See if you can pass it back the other way. Turning the wrist of the right hand forward, fingertips down, pull on the fingers a little bit so you can lengthen out the forearm. Continue breathing. And then switching to the other hand. You probably notice one forearm is going to be tighter than the other. For most of us, it's our dominant hand, but that may not be true for you. All right, releasing that. Let's come down onto your bottom. Bring your feet out in front of you. Feet are going to be about mat width apart. And a comfortable distance away from your hips. You can bring your hands out behind you just to prop yourself up. And we'll shift a little bit side to side. And so, just feeling it out, starting to open up the hips. And as you do, you may find that as you move side to side, it becomes a little bit easier to go a little deeper into the twisting motion. And maybe after a couple of rounds, you can focus on keeping your hands in place. So you start to open up through the shoulders a little bit as well. So try not to let your hands shift forward. And you don't have to coordinate this with your breath, but keep breathing. And once you've gone to both sides an equal number of times, sit back up, straighten your legs, and roll out the ankles. Switch directions. All right, and then from here, let's find our way up onto our feet. So bring your feet about hip width apart. Outside edges of your feet are going to be parallel to the long edges of your mat. Weave your fingers together so that your palms are facing down toward the floor. And then stretch your arms up overhead. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Lift your chest. And then let's bring both hands behind the back of your head. Squeeze your elbows toward the front of the room. And on your next exhalation, side bend over to the right and extend your arms. And then inhaling back to center. On your next exhalation, extend, side bend to the left, and just keep moving this way, seeing if you can start to make your breath last a little bit longer than each movement, and maybe adding that Ujjayi Pranayama, slight constriction in the back of your throat, so that as you breathe in and out through your nose, you can hear the air passing audibly through your throat. Once you've completed an equal number on both sides, let's come back to center. On your next inhalation, open up your chest, roll your palms up toward the ceiling, roll your elbows toward the front of the room. And then on your exhalation, bend your knees round to your spine. Wrap your arms around the back of your knees and let your head Then inhale, come on back up, lift the chest, lift the palms, roll the elbows forward. And exhale, bend the knees, draw the low belly in around the back. And let's keep moving this way with your own breath. Inhaling up, little back bending shape, opening the shoulders. Exhaling, rounding the back, bending the knees. The next time you exhale, let's forward fold. So keep that bend in your knees. Release the crown of your head down toward the floor. Feel your ribs making contact with your thighs. And if you can't feel that, bend your knees a little bit more. The idea here is not to create a ton of sensation in the back of your legs so much as it is to allow the low back to traction out. So see if you can get that feeling of your outer hips and your tailbone moving up toward the ceiling. Crown of your head releasing down toward the floor. You can do whatever you like with your hands. You can leave them grounded on the floor. You can grab for the back of your legs. You can grab for the opposite elbow behind your knees. You can grab in front of your legs and gently sway side to side if that feels good. Add a little movement. And on your inhalation, let's come halfway up, so find your flat back, lengthen out through the crown of your head, extend your tailbone toward the back of the room. And what you probably feel is that your legs may straighten out a little bit. You may feel a little intensification through the back of your legs. Continue breathing. Keep lifting the chest. All right, and then on your exhalation, let's step your left foot back. We'll bring the left knee, top of the left foot down to the mat, and bring both of your hands up to the top of your right thigh. And on your next exhalation, just shift your weight forward, and then inhale back up. Keep moving this way. Next time you come forward, let's stay forward. So your right knee should be roughly above your ankle, maybe slightly in front of it, but not too much. And then weave your fingers together behind your back. Lift your chest. Press your knuckles down toward the floor behind you. See if you can get that feeling of lifting your chest more than your chin. So instead of dumping into your low back or cranking through your neck, we want to invite a back bending shape. So we feel some opening through the front of the left side of the body, all along the length of the spine, including the spreading of the rib cage, the lengthening out of the neck. Eye gaze goes up. And try to keep that back of your neck as long as the front of your neck. All right, then on your exhalation, let's come forward. Bring your left forearm down onto the mat. We'll take a twist to your right. So extend your right arm up toward the ceiling. Again, try to keep the right knee stacked over the right ankle and feel that feeling of your hip dropping down toward the floor. Continue breathing. Then let's extend the right arm toward the front of the room. So keep wrapping the heart open to your right. Feel that feeling of extending your right fingertips forward, drawing your left hip back in space. Right hip back in space, excuse me. All right, then on your exhalation, let's go ahead and bring both hands down to the floor. Curl your back toes under. Step your back foot up to meet the front foot. Inhale, half lift, find your flat back. And then on your exhalation, we'll step the right foot back. Right knee, top of the right foot, come down to the mat. Bring both hands up to the top of your left thigh, and on your exhalation, shift your weight forward. And then inhale back. And just keep moving this way with your own breath. Next time you come forward, stay shifted forward. Weave your fingers together. Take the non-habitual grip this time, so your other pinky is on the bottom. Lift your chest. Press your knuckles back down toward the floor. Feel that lengthening along the length of your right hip flexors, the front of your right hip, into your quad. Feel your belly lengthening out. Feel that spreading of the rib cage. Get that feeling of lifting the chest more than the chin. The back of the neck stays long, face stays relaxed. Eye gaze is up toward the ceiling. All right. Bringing your right forearm down onto the mat this time. We'll take a twist to your left. So extend your left arm up toward the ceiling. Keep dropping the left hip. Breathe in here. And then extend your left arm forward toward the front of the room. Reach through your left fingertips. Draw your left shoulder back away from your ear. Draw your left hip back in space, creating a lot of length all the way from your left hip up through your armpit, and then again from your armpit up through your fingertips. All right, on your exhalation, let's bring your left forearm down into the mat. We'll step back into forearm plank. So walk your knees back until you feel your belly turn on, and then if you want a little bit more, curl your toes under and lift your knees up off of the mat. So your shoulders are over your elbows. Legs are strong, as if you were using the strength of your legs to hold yourself up as much as the strength of your arms. Continue breathing. Good. Then on your exhalation, lower your knees, lower your hips all the way down to the floor. Bring your palms down flat on the mat, about shoulder width apart if they're not already there. And lift up through the crown of your head for Sphinx pose. So breathing here. It may feel good to traction your elbows back towards your heels. Pull your sternum toward the front of the room. Keep your face relaxed. And if you feel like you're dumping into your low back, see if you can move the action of the pose more into your mid-back. Imagine that you're breathing in and out between your shoulder blades. All right, on your exhalation, let's lower all the way down to the floor. Draw your palms back underneath your shoulders. And on your next exhalation, extend your right arm straight up to the side, palm facing down, and roll to the right. And then on your inhalation, come back to center. And on your next exhalation, extend your left arm out to the left and roll to the left. And keep moving this way with your own breath, seeing if you can find a little rhythm, making the inhalations and exhalations last a little bit longer than the movement, and being mindful not to rush through the inhalations as if you were in a big hurry to get to the next so-called stretch. Once you've completed an equal number on both sides, bring your palms down alongside your hips. And on your inhalation, lift up through your head, lift up through your chest. Pick your feet and your knees up off the mat as well for a locust variation. If you want a little bit more, you can pick up your hands and weave your fingers together behind your low back. Push your knuckles down toward the floor. Wherever you're at, continue breathing. Good. And on your exhalation, let's go ahead and lower down. Stack your hands on top of your sacrum. And on your next inhalation, extend your right arm straight out in front of you and lift your left leg. And then on your exhalation, return your hand and your foot to its starting position, but turn your head away from your arm as it moves back, so you're turning your head to the left. And then inhaling, left arm forward, right leg raises. Exhale, lower back down, turn your head to the right. And keep moving this way with your own breath. Once you've completed an equal number on both sides, let's come back to the center. Bring your forearms back down into the mat. Elbows underneath the shoulders as if you were turning to Sphinx, but then press yourself onto your knees or maybe curl your toes under and return to forearm plank. We're going to take the right hand and turn it in at a 45-degree angle, and then roll onto the sides of your feet and extend your left arm up toward the ceiling for a variation of side plank. Take a couple of breaths here. If you want to add a lengthening element, extend your left arm over your ear and press your left hip up toward the ceiling. Returning back to your neutral plank, bring both of your forearms down into the ground. We'll turn the left arm in at a 45-degree angle, roll into the sides of your feet, extend your right arm up toward the ceiling. A few breaths here. Keep lifting the outer right hip. And if you want to add the lengthening element on this side, extend the right arm forward and make a little more of a radial shape with your body as you breathe. All right, returning back to neutral. Let's lower the hips down one more time, Sphinx pose. Lift up through the crown of your head. Releasing and gripping in your low back and in your butt. Let your belly lengthen out, soften out. And then from here, press down through your knees, curl your toes under, and start to walk your feet in towards your elbows. Keep pressing down through your hands. Shift your shoulders back away from your elbows. Start to lengthen out through the back of your legs for dolphin. Breathing here. Release the crown of your head. Maybe after a couple of breaths, you'll find you can walk your feet in a little bit more. Shoulders start to open up. Take a little bend in your knees if you need. Keep lifting your tailbone. Continue breathing. All right, then on your exhalation, let's drop both knees down to the mat. Knees can be a little wider than your hips. Bring your big toes to touch. Shift your hips back for child's pose. Leave your arms extended if you like, and just make it real passive. You can bring your arms alongside of your hips, turn your palms up toward the ceiling. If you want a little activation for your shoulders and your arms are extended, pop up onto your fingertips. Create a little drag with your fingertips as if you were trying to pull them back toward the crown of your head. Continue breathing. Coming forward again, bring your forearms down into the mat, step yourself back into forearm plank. We're going to try to add a little bit of a flow here with some of these movements we just practiced. So on your next exhalation, go ahead and roll onto the sides of your foot. Extend your left arm up toward the ceiling. Take an inhale here. And then on your exhalation, return to forearm plank. Inhale, shift over to your left arm, extend your right arm. And then exhale back into forearm plank. And let's keep moving between these two shapes. Inhaling, left arm up. Exhaling, plank. Inhaling, right arm up. Exhaling, plank. All right, the next time you return to your right forearm with your left arm raised, let's stay here, and on your exhalation, go ahead and drop your hand, drop your hip down toward the mat, and then inhale it back up and over your head. And we'll move this way a few times. Exhaling down, inhaling up. All right, on your next exhalation, return to forearm plank. We'll shift to the other side, shift onto the left hand, right arm extends, exhale, drop the left hip, drop the hand, inhale, lift the hip up and over, reach toward the front of the room, continue moving, continue breathing. All right, exhaling back to your forearm plank. Walk your feet in again. Returning to dolphin pose. Press down through your forearms. Shift your hips back. Lengthen out through the back of the legs. Continue breathing. Alright, then from here, let's lower your knees down to the mat. We'll sit back into your thunderbolt pose. Curl your toes under and come up to stand. Alright, we'll meet at the front of the mat. Bring both arms out in front of you. Bring your feet about hip width apart. Shift your weight onto your heels. We're going to lower in and out of a squat dynamically with the breath. Try not to lower down so low that your heels come up off the ground. So if you feel like your heels are going to come off the ground, that's as low as you're going to go. All right, exhale down. Inhale up. Keep moving this way. Last one here. All right, this time when you come back to standing, find your equal standing pose. Tadasana, mountain pose, palms toward the front of the room. Lift up through the crown of your head. All right, we're going to combine some of these movements into a variation of Ardha Surya Namaskar A. So on your next inhalation, lift your chest, lift your palms, roll your elbows toward the front of the room as we did at the beginning of the class. Exhale, bend through the knees, round the spine, tuck the chin, hug for the back of the leg. Inhale, half lift, find your flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, reach up for the ceiling, maybe palms come to touch. And then exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the palms, roll the elbows forward. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, round the back. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's keep moving this way. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, roll the elbows forward. Exhale, forward fold, round back. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Last time here. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, half lift. And this time when you exhale, step your left foot back. We'll keep our left knee off of the mat this time and use your inhalation to rise up for the high lunge. Sinking the hips, lifting the heart, turning the palms to face one another. Continue breathing. And if you feel stable here, go ahead and grab for your left wrist and we'll take a side bend over to the right. Inhaling back to center. On your exhalation, drop your back knee, top of your back foot down to the floor, and shift your hips back for Ardha Hanumanasana. So your left hip stays over the top of your left knee. Keep drawing your right hip back in space. Flex through your right foot so your toes are pointing back towards your knee and extend through the crown of your head as if you were trying to lengthen out your spine. Breathing here. Remember, you can add some height underneath your hands in the form of blocks if it'll help you find more integrity in the shape. And then on your exhalation, let's roll the sole of your right foot down to the mat. We'll come into a prayer twist. So cross your left arm over the top of your right leg. You can press your palms together if that feels okay on your wrists. And then if you want to make it more active, curl the toes of your back foot under and lift your back knee up off the mat. Open your heart out to the right. Continue breathing. And if this is too much on your wrist, you can grab for your opposite forearm with either hand. Exhalation. Let's go ahead and unwind. Step your back foot up to meet the front. In foot, inhale, half lift. Exhale, step your right foot back this time. And then on your inhalation, rise up, high lunge on the other side. Sinking the hips, lifting the heart. You want to grab for your right wrist this time. Side bend over to the right. Left rather. Continue breathing. Inhaling back to center, drop your back knee, drop both hands, bring the sole of your top of your right foot back down onto the mat, shift your hips back, right hip stays stacked over the right knee, draw the left hip back in space, flex through the left foot so your toes are pointing back towards your knee, lift the chest, extend through the crown of the head. So what we're feeling here are these vectors of energy moving in opposing directions along the length of the leg. Feeling the energy moving out through the sole of the foot at one end of the leg, but then the energy drawing back into the hip. Same thing in the torso. Feeling the hip dropping back, the crown of the head lengthening up. Forward again, bring the sole of your left foot down into the mat. We'll cross our hands, right arm over the top of the left thigh. You can press your palms together. Again, if that's no good on your wrist, grab for your opposite forearm. If you feel stable here, curl the back toes under, twisting the heart to the left. Pelvis stays level. Chest rotates. Continue breathing. Releasing both hands down to the floor, carefully here. Step your back foot up to meet the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Reach up for the ceiling. And then on your exhalation, let's step open into a wide-legged stance. So facing the long edge of your mat here. Turn the toes of your feet out at a 45-degree angle. Weave your fingers together behind the back of your head and bending your knees slightly. On your next exhalation, start making a big circle down to the right with your torso. And then use your inhalation to bring you back up, little back bend at the top of the action, and continue moving this way. Once you've completed your third round in the first direction, go ahead and switch directions. Still exhaling down and forward. Inhaling up and back. And once you've completed your third round in the second direction, come up to standing. Press the back of your head into your hands. Press your hands into the back of your head and open your elbows up toward the wall behind you. Lengthening here, broadening through the chest. Extending both arms out to the side. On your next exhalation, we're going to cross laterally, cross our body with the left hand toward the right foot into a twist. And then on the inhalation, come back up. And on your exhalation, right arm crosses toward the outside of the left foot. Left arm extends up toward the ceiling. And just keep moving this way with your own breath. The next time your left arm comes towards your right foot, we'll take a few breaths here. If it's too much of a reach for you to grab for the outside of your right foot, don't worry. Just bring your hand to the floor a little closer to the midline of your body. Try to keep your pelvis square to the floor. See if you can accentuate that feeling of twisting along the spine. So your right shoulder is going to wrap back. You're going to fit in your head and your neck. So if it feels janky, feel free to look down toward the floor instead of looking up toward your right arm. To neutral, we'll switch to the other side. Right arm comes down, left arm comes up. Again, drawing the left hip back, keeping the pelvis relatively square. Keep wrapping the left shoulder back. Maybe eye gaze is up toward the hand, maybe looking down toward the floor. Continue breathing. Coming back up to neutral. Let's heel toe the feet in a few times. Shorten up your stance a little bit to find horse pose. Weave your fingers together like we did at the beginning of class. Pressing your palms toward the floor this time. On your inhalation, raise your arms up and overhead. And then on your exhalation, sit down a little bit lower. Press the energy out and just keep moving this way. Inhaling up, exhaling down and out. the next time you inhale, come on up to standing. Heel toe your feet in so they're a little bit wider than your hips. Toes turned out slightly, and then lower down into a deep squat, Malasana. And you can bring your hands to the floor. You can bring your hands to Anjali Mudra if you like. Nice action here from the mudra to help open up through the inside of your legs. Just pressing slightly the hands together, again, being mindful of the wrist, not creating a lot of pressure here. I'm not trying to wrench the knees open, but just trying to create that feeling of lengthening through the inner leg line, lifting up through the chest, allowing the tailbone to drop, taking a lot of weight onto the heels. All right, so if this is enough for you, you can go ahead and stay here. If you want to practice adding some hip mobility work, you can bring your hands down to the floor and then pivot on your feet to shift your right knee down toward the floor. And then come back to center. And then shift your left knee down toward the floor and come back to center. And if this is easy for you, you can pick your hands up. Go ahead and do it without the support of your fingers on the floor. See if you can make the movement smooth. Notice places where there maybe hindrances to the movement, just observing. And then once you've completed both sides an equal number of times, let's come all the way up to standing. Heel toe your feet until they're about hip width apart. Hinge at the hips. Bend your knees so that you can bring your hands down to the floor. We'll hook our peace fingers and thumbs around the big toes. Again, it may take a liberal bend in your knee to make this happen. Press your big toes down to your fingers. Resist your fingers slightly into the bottoms of your big toes. Get that feeling of lifting up through your outer hip, through your tailbone. Let the crown of your head drop. Continue breathing. On your next inhalation, lift the torso until your arms are straight. Find that flat back, and then exhale, fold again. Let's move this way a few times. Inhaling, lifting the torso, straightening the arms, keep the chin tucked, and then exhale, release. Next time you inhale, let's come all the way up to standing. Turn your palms to face the long edge of the mat. Sweep your arms up overhead. Maybe palms come to touch. Let's drop the right hand between the shoulder blades. Reach up and over for that right elbow. We'll take a side bend over to the left. Opening up through the side body. If you want to step your right foot behind your left, accent, forming that crescent moon shape with the entire body. Go ahead. Inhaling back through center, extend both arms up towards the ceiling. Left arm drops back between the shoulder blades. Reach over with your right hand for the left elbow. We'll side bend to the right this time. If you like, bend the right knee, step the left foot behind. Breathing. All right, coming back to center. Let's release both hands up toward the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Turn to face the short end of your mat. And then from here, let's see if we can lower down with control to our knees, and then come forward onto our bellies. You can lay your forearms down onto the mat, walk your feet back, lower all the way down onto our bellies. This time, bend through your knees, Reach back for the outsides of your ankles. Using the strength of your legs, press the soles of your feet up toward the ceiling. Lift your chest. Breathing here. Dhanurasana bow pose. Without slingshotting your arms, lower down, your legs, release your bind. We'll come into Sphinx pose again. This time we're going to cross our right arm in front of our left, so walk your hands toward opposite sides of your mat. Keep your elbows underneath your chest. Your palms are going to be face down about level with your shoulders, and then slide your right arm, or right leg out to the side. So your right knee, your right ankle, and your right hip are all at about 90-degree angles. Lift up through the crown of your head. Continue breathing. Releasing the right leg back. Let's come back down onto your belly. We're going to repeat bow pose. Remember, you can also hook a strap around your ankles if this is inaccessible for you. Even if you just lift up your chest and reach back towards your feet, you'll get some utility out of this pose. If you can grab for the outside of your ankles, great. Lift up through the chest. Press your pubic bone down into the mat. Try to keep your knees from splaying open. Roll your shoulders open. Keep the back of your neck long as you breathe. And if you feel real stable here and you want to roll onto your right side, you go ahead and shift your weight. Roll onto your right. Good. And then coming back to center. Give it a little lift. And then lower down. Release the bind without slingshotting. This time, left arm crosses in front of the right. So your elbows are stacked underneath your chest. Palms are facing down. Walk your hands up, lift up to the crown of your head, slide your left knee out to the side. 90-degree bend, hip, knee, foot, roughly. Continue breathing. Center, bring the left leg back. Last time, bow pose. Hands down by the hips, bend through the knees. Reach back for the outsides of your ankles. Strength of the legs, press the feet up toward the ceiling. Strength of the arms, lift the chest. Continue breathing. And if you roll to your right on the other side, give it a try rolling to your left on this side. Back through center, get another lift, and then release, lower down, make a pillow with your hands, bring your forehead onto the back of your top hand. If it feels good to shift your hips a little bit side to side, go ahead. If you want to practice just laying in stillness and watching your breath, you can do that as well. Maybe bring your attention to the place where your forehead is making contact with the back of your top hand. And just watch whatever arises there, as if you were watching your thoughts projected on the screen of your mind. Forearms back down onto the mat. Lift up on your knees, maybe curl your toes under. We're going to walk our feet in. We're going to do one more round or maybe two more rounds of dolphin here. Press down through your forearms.
Look back towards your feet, shifting your shoulders back, your hips up, feel your shoulder blades sliding up your back. Continue breathing here. And after a couple rounds of breath, if you want to walk your feet in a little bit closer, go ahead. If you want to practice picking up one foot and then the other, or maybe kicking up into forearm stand, if you have that in your practice, go ahead. We're going to do 2 rounds, so if you want to move over toward a wall to practice forearm stand or take a headstand, this might be a nice time in your practice to do this. You can just stay with me through these variations of plank and dolphin. And from your dolphin, go ahead and walk your feet back, lower down. You can take a few breaths in Sphinx again, or if you've had enough back bending, you can lower back down, maybe bring one ear down to the mat. Just tractioning out the neck, letting the breath slow down. Alright, last time here, bring your forearms back down onto the mat, elbows underneath the shoulders, palms about shoulder width apart. Press up on your knees, maybe curl your toes under, so to walk your feet in. Again, dolphin pose, last time today. Again, any variations you like. Practice picking up one leg and then the other. Go ahead and do so. You want to just shift your weight forward towards forearm balance. Pick up one leg, give it a try. Try the other leg, see how it feels today. Maybe it's there for you, maybe it's not. Coming back down, walk your feet back down, lower your hips. Get a few breaths in Sphinx, or come all the way down to your belly. Bring your other ear down to the mat. Let your neck traction out. Watch it breathe. When you're ready, let's come back up to seated. We'll face the long edge of the mat. And bring your legs out nice and wide. Shift your weight forward so that you're sitting on the front of your sits bones, those bony protuberances at the base of your pelvis. Lift up nice and tall through the crown of your head. And then on your exhalations, take a forward fold. Walk your hands out in front of you. Lengthen out through the crown of your head. And keep flexing through your feet. And as you move forward, you'll start to find that you'll hit a point where your body will say, that's enough. So just hang out there and breathe at your edge. Keep observing the feelings that are present. And then as you settle into it, if you can find a way to relax into the shape and release or reduce the tonicity, kind of unconscious holding of our muscles in a contracted pattern, you may find that your body will let go just a little bit more and you'll be able to move a little deeper into the pose. And the idea here isn't necessarily to get your chest or your forehead down to the floor, but think about lengthening your spine out of your pelvis. So we're hinging forward at the hips, feeling the pelvis rotate forward and the spine lengthening out. And then once you find this new edge, What you may find again is that after a couple of breaths, a couple of rounds of breath, tonicity will start to calm down and you feel a little more release, and then maybe you can move a little bit deeper into the sensation. Just exploring, not trying to rip the body open. Walk your hands back, sit up nice and tall, do a little side bending here before we move on to our backs. Turn the palm of your left hand up to face the ceiling. We'll slide the left hand down along the inside of the left leg. You can maybe hook your thumb on the top of your foot, index finger in the arch of your foot, and then open your heart up toward the ceiling. Your right hand can come to your hip, or maybe reach back for that little bump on the back of your head. With your right hand, press your elbow up toward the ceiling. Feel that lengthening of the side body. If you could reach your arm overhead and bind on the outside of your left leg, go ahead and do so, but make sure that you still feel like you're getting some useful work in the shoulder and in the side body. If you're wrapping over and you're collapsing all the way forward and you've lost that side opening, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of the pose. Just move your hand to the back of your head. Stay there, press your elbow toward the ceiling. Keep opening your belly button and the center of your chest up toward the ceiling as you breathe. Alright, coming back to your center, let's shift to the other side. Slide your right arm down along the inside of your right leg. Thumb is going to be on the top of your foot, index finger toward the inside of your foot. You may not be able to bind on your foot, it doesn't matter. You can even take a little bend if that's more useful for you in your right leg, and then your left hand can come to the hip. You can reach for that little bump with your left arm, back of your head, or you can extend, bind on the outside of the right foot. Keep wrapping the heart, wrapping the belly button up. Feel that length along the side body. Feel that lengthening in the shoulder, creating some traction here. Coming back up. Let's pivot to face with our feet, the short edge of the mat. Lower back down into your back. Let your knees knock together. You can bring your palms down to the floor, turn them up toward the ceiling beside your hips. Take a moment to check in with how you're feeling in your body today. Take a moment to notice if there's anything that you'd like to do while your body's still warm. If you haven't gone upside down today yet, you may want to practice a headstand or a forearm stand. Should be pretty prepared for either one of those poses, or maybe just rock back into shoulder stand, plow. And if you feel like you're ready to wind it down and start to transition into your final rest, you can take a few simple poses, maybe happy baby, or maybe a supine twist, a twist on your back, to help you bring some compensation into your spine and prepare you for your final rest. And if you're ready to move right into your shavasana, go ahead. We're all going to meet here. Extend your legs. Let your heels be about shoulder width apart. Let your feet flop open. If you want to slide a bolster or folded blanket underneath your knees for a little extra support for your low back, that might feel good. Hands be a comfortable distance away from your hips. Palms can be turned up toward the ceiling, or they can be down on the floor if you want to create more of a grounding effect. Make sure your shoulder blades are down away from your ears, so if you need to pick up your chest and slide your shoulder blades down, go ahead. Back of the neck is long. Maybe close your eyes. And when you come into your final resting pose, just take a moment to notice the sensations that are present in your physical body. Observe your breathing. And start to notice any of the energetic qualities that are present in your body. Places where it feels like the energy is flowing freely, and maybe places where it maybe still feels a little stuck, and just notice. And then watching your mind, noticing what thoughts are present. Watching them come and go. And then maybe allowing yourself to take a half step back into your awareness, into that witnessing perspective from which you can watch your body and your inner breath, those energetic sensations, and the activity of your mind. Just starting to notice how all of those things arise within the expansive field of your consciousness. We've come to the part of the practice where there's nothing left for you to do. So see if you can allow yourself just to sink into that space you've created. You're not doing anything. Not being this or that. But just enjoying that simple feeling of being. Bring your attention back to your breath at the navel. Slowly begin to deepen your inhalations and lengthen your exhalations. When you feel ready to move, start small with your fingers and your toes. And see if you can, as you increase the movement in your body, keep your attention grounded in that deepest level of your being that you have access to. And so we do our practice of Hatha Yoga to help give us some space from that immediate identification with the body and the mind, so that it makes the practice of dharana, concentration, easier, and that allows us to go deeper into our other practice, our practice of pranayama and meditation. And when you feel ready, take the next minute or so to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So once you find your comfortable seat, you can sit in Vajrasana on your shins, as we did at the beginning of class, or as I did at the beginning of class, or you can come into a cross-legged pose. You could even sit in a chair. We're going to practice some pranayama here before we conclude. So once you find your comfortable seat, close your eyes. Check to make sure you're sitting balanced from right to left on either side of your body. See if you can feel that slight anterior or forward tilt of your pelvis. Your pelvis just rotating forward slightly to help support that neutral curve of your low back. Release any gripping in your low belly, muscles above your pubic bone, below your navel. Lift up slightly through your chest. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Tuck your chin just a little bit. And if you haven't already, close your eyes. Let your tongue come down from the roof of your mouth. And then lightly press the tip of your tongue against the juncture where the back of your top teeth meet the roof of your mouth to create what's known as Jiva Mudra. Lightly pressing the tip of your tongue against the gum line at the roof of your mouth. And bring your attention to your breath as it enters and exits at the tip of your nose. And observe your breathing there without doing anything special to shape or control your breath. Noticing the sensations of the air moving in and out through your nostrils. And on your next inhalation, shift your attention to the air moving in through your left nostril. And on your exhalation, shift your attention to the sensations of the air moving out through your right nostril. Then stay with the right nostril as you inhale. And shift your attention back to the left nostril as you exhale. So you're still breathing through both nostrils, but you're just shifting your attention from one nostril to the other after each inhalation. Just continue with this pattern.
assuming all of this is going okay, the next time you inhale through your left nostril, imagine a blue thread of energy traveling up from a space about 2 inches below your left nostril up to the space between your eyebrows. And when you exhale with your attention on the right nostril, imagine a golden thread of energy traveling down from the space between your eyebrows to a spot about 2 inches below your right nostril. Then on your next inhalation, stay with that golden thread on the right side of your nose, moving up from 2 inches below your nostril up to the space between your eyebrows. And then on your exhalation, a blue thread of energy traveling down from the space between your eyebrows to a spot about 2 inches below your left nostril. Now again, if it's enough for you just to stay with the pattern of breathing without the visualization, just continue with the pattern of breathing. But if you want to give the visualization a try, go ahead. The next time you exhale through your left nostril and complete the round that you're currently on, release the technique, release the visualization, and bring your attention to your mind. Picture your mind as a clear blue sky. And if any thoughts should intrude upon the clear blue sky of your mind, see the thought as a little cloud, watch it pass by, and then return to the clear blue sky of your mind. Bringing your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of the heart. Let's take one final moment to practice gratitude, bringing into your heart and into your mind whatever it is that you feel grateful for, and seeing if you can connect with those things that you feel grateful for in such a way that you can feel the feeling of gratitude in your physical body. chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace for ourselves, peace for our communities, peace for all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thanks for sharing your practice. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if there are certain types of videos you want to see, certain things you want to work on, feel free to leave that in the comments as well. It'll help me direct what I put out there. Thanks a lot and have a great day.